It has been well documented how much training and work goes into sports behind the scenes. For the newest and fastest growing genre sport, it is no different. I'm of course talking about esports. In this documentary, I'll be taking a closer look at how much the players put themselves through to be championship worthy material, from practicing strategies to dealing with the stress of competition and refining their motor skills. When it comes to strategy, one of the best games to look at is Rainbow Six Siege, a tactical first-person shooter which requires an immense amount of precise teamwork, clear communication, in-depth strategy, personal skill and well-being to be successful in. My first interviewee is Lewis, also known as Xumi. He is a player for Audacity Esports in the UK and Ireland Nationals. He's here to talk about how he prepares for a match and the impact that mental health can have on the game. So when it comes to training in esports, what do you do to train your motor skill?
I think that what I do to train the motor skill and stuff like that is a lot of aim training with like things like aim labs and etc. Making sure I do things like the sound and the motion shot as well, as well as like other stuff that can just flick every now and then. And then when it comes to stuff in like just when I'm off the PC, usually a lot of exercise is quite nice, like stuff like working out and just being as active as possible and just making sure that you're doing the right things outside of when you can get on your feet and so on and so forth. It helps quite a lot. And it also is quite good for your mental health.
Yeah. In an average week, how much time do you spend training, both personally and as a team?
I think, well, as a team, we do it practically every day. It's sort of like a must, and just making sure that everyone's on their game whenever they need to, becoming with scrims and etc. And then personally, I usually tend to do it every now and then. If I feel like I'm really in a boost, I'll spend weeks just constantly working on my grind or like playing the game constantly. Or when it comes to things like aim training, stuff like that, it'll mostly be just a warm up just before every scrims, and then possibly if I need it, extra stuff I need to do.
Yeah. And if you're losing a match, what can you do to gain momentum and sort of swing the score back in your favor as a team?
I feel like resetting is a massive thing that you can do in this game, especially when everyone's slaughtered down. You just grab everyone together, talk about something, just be like, listen, it's now or never, or, we have nothing else we can do, so let's try this instead. Let's all reset, and you never know, you could win the game because of it. I mean, we did stuff like that when last season when we were 4 games down, I think we were, or 3-0, I think, and it was against Kawana, and we were just like, we're probably not going to win this, and we were just like, you know what, boys, we're just going to go out there, do whatever we need to do, reset completely, and we ended up winning it. So, and then from then on, we just won every single game that we played. So it was a massive momentum gain from us just by resetting completely.
So leading on to that point, in a game like Siege, how important is your strategy compared to like, the quick thinking and adaptation that comes with sort of resetting the momentum?
So your strategy is very important, because if you have like a really bad strategy, it's hard for you to work as a team and work together when the enemy can just walk through like a certain strategy that you're playing. If you have a decent strategy and you're able to just work around with it, because the thing is, you can have a strat that's not that good, but as long as your teamwork and your quick thinking and everything like that is on par, you could win games like nobody's business. But I feel like there's a bit of strategic like ability there, like quick thinking and making sure that you can adapt very easily is a very good key feature to have. But if you have a great strat, then it seems like no one could beat you if you play it correctly.
Yeah. When preparing for a match, what is the most important aspect to focus on, in your opinion?
I feel like it's not letting any of the jitters get to you, like things like nerves, or if you're getting a bit too shaky, or if you're worrying about failing. You just got to just kind of just go out there and just do what you think is best, and just trying to perform to the best of your ability. And when it comes to things like worrying about if you're going to do good or not, it's only you at the end of the day that you have to prove yourself to, because people can say whatever they want to say, and they'll say if you're doing good or bad, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide if you want to do well or not.
Yeah. And finally, what are your thoughts on the importance of mental health to a player's performance?
I feel like if your mental health is at an all-time high, you will absolutely smash it. Knowing from experience, I've had times where I've been quite low and I would just not be focused, not be at the point where I need to be. I would be losing gunfights constantly and I'd just be worried about everything going on in my life. But when you are at your best, feeling happy, when you have a really good mood, like the amount of things you can do is crazy and you just seem like you're on fire. Um, it's just like as long as you're at like a really, really good mental health, and as long as like you can reset every round or reset when you need to, then you are physically unstoppable.
My second interviewee is Ellis, also known as GiG. He is the coach for Vodafone Giants, who are a team currently competing in the Asia Pacific region of Rainbow Six Siege. The team is in France right now, preparing for the biggest event of the year, the Invitational. He's here to talk about how a team prepares themselves strategically and emotionally for events, and the importance of coaches for a team's success. Well, straight away, what are your roles as a coach?
Well, my job and my priority is really just to set the team up to play how I envision, how I want them to do, and what I think suits them best. Ultimately, what'll bring us victory. Preparing practice, preparing strats, leading review sessions, and helping the players develop. Really,
Yeah. How important is the player's mental health when it comes to dealing with a tough loss?
I think the mental state is one of the biggest things in Siege. Honestly, the way the game's played, you have to really be strong mentally with your decision making in game and dealing with matches specifically. Bouncing back from a loss is always hard. You really have to, just forget about the game, get over it, and focus on your next opponent when the games are as quick fire as they are as an at invitational. Playing 3 games a day, you can't really dwell on losing a game. You've got to just get over it, get on with the game, and prepare for your next one.
Yeah. In the run up to a match, how do you prepare for a specific opponent?
Um, I'd say we're one of the teams which focus more on the opponent rather than ourselves coming into a game. We like to really try and counter opponents, look at what map we can get to and get it right, um, and look how we can play against them and what will work best really. So we put a lot of time into looking at VODs and discussing what we can do, how we can adapt what we do, and ultimately what we think will work best.
Yeah. Going back to your success at the Tokonami finals when you were with Natus Vincere, during the semi-finals, you lost the first map in overtime, which is always a kind of very hard thing to cope with, being that close to victory. But your team was able to stay motivated and swiftly take the final 2 maps. What do you think? What do you think helped you stay motivated for that?
I think the main thing really was that the nerves went out the window after the first game. That was the first game for everyone in that team at such a big event in front of tons of fans. The pressure is definitely on, but as soon as the first map was out of the way, we're down. We have nothing else to lose then, and I think everyone woke up a bit, and the mentality swiftly changed from being a bit nervous, but scared to, having backs against the wall, nothing to lose really, and thinking like that and having that mental state is so important.
Yeah. With Giants, how have you and the team been preparing for the Invitational? I mean, it's a prestigious event.
Yeah, really just a lot of scrims. Last season we lacked a lot of consistency, and we're not quite where we want to be yet. But hopefully, with a few more days against like the big boys in the EU, some good scrims, some better scrims than we usually have, we'll be able to get that consistency where we want it, make as little mistakes as possible, and we have the potential to be a good team. I've obviously worked with Navi. I know how good those players were, and obviously what we achieved, and I know the potential that we have. But the problem we have is just stringing it all together and being consistent with it. So yeah, we've been trying to work on that, and we're definitely a lot better than we were a few weeks ago, but still a long way to go if we want to really make waves at this tournament.
Yeah. And finally, what are your thoughts on the importance of coaches and support staff in the esports to their team's success?
Um, I don't think a team could win a big tournament without support behind them from the coach, from an analyst, from the org, from family, friends, etc. Having the support to build you up and for players to lean on is so important because at the end of the day, it's a team game. It's five players, however many staff or whatever. You've really got to be in it together and work together, and no one player can outshine the whole team. It's really a good team effort, and I think that's what one of the main things we're about. The 5 lads, they know each other well in real life. They meet a lot. They're very, very tight-knit unit, and our teamwork really shows with our teamwork in game.
To summarise, working in esports requires a huge amount of dedication to be able to deal with refining motor skills, complex strategies, and a healthy mental state. I reached out to sports psychologist Callum Abbott, who stated that well-being and self-care is so important in a discipline where, for the most part, unlike traditional sports, your body does not limit the amount of practice and performance time you can have. Since people can practice and play for longer, it's highly important they also look after their well-being by taking regular breaks, limiting screen time, engaging in hobbies outside of the PC, and maintaining strong social networks. In turn, engaging in these well-being protective behaviours can support motivation, quality of practice, and engagement with the game itself, which may further support performance. If you are looking to pursue a career in esports, it's important to be prepared to work hard, to be the best you can be, and to ensure you're prepared to deal with the stress of competition. Esports can be an extremely rewarding industry, and the relationships you make through it are an amazing thing. I've been your host, Will Gardner, and thank you for watching this documentary.